Every thought you think is a seed, and your mind is the soil. What you plant and nurture, whether it's doubt or confidence, fear or faith, will grow into your reality. This isn't about momentary affirmations or short bursts of positivity. It's about what you are feeding your mind all day, every day. The truth is, most people don't realize how much they sabotage their own manifestations simply by what they allow to run on repeat in their minds. They do all the techniques, affirming, visualizing, scripting, but in between, they're feeding themselves the same old mental diet of worry, self-doubt, and frustration. And that is what keeps showing up in their 3D world. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right but nothing is changing, it's not because manifestation is broken. It's because your dominant inner conversations haven't changed. Think about it. If you affirm for a few minutes but then spend the rest of the day doubting, overthinking, or reacting to the 3D world, what do you think your subconscious mind is absorbing? Your subconscious doesn't pick and choose which thoughts to manifest. It takes whatever you impress on it the most. Imagine someone trying to lose weight. They eat a healthy meal in the morning, but for the rest of the day, they binge on junk food. Would they see results? Of course not. Yet this is exactly how most people treat their mental diet. They affirm for a few minutes and expect change while still indulging in thoughts that contradict their desires. Your dominant thoughts shape your reality, whether you are aware of them or not. The issue is not that your affirmations don't work. It's that they are being drowned out by the opposing inner dialogue that runs throughout the day. If you are constantly affirming abundance, but worrying about bills, your subconscious is still being fed the assumption that you don't have enough. If you affirm that your specific person loves you but spend hours doubting, stalking their social media, and feeling rejected, you are still reinforcing the belief that they don't want you. This is why your mental diet matters more than just the few minutes you dedicate to affirming. It's not enough to simply say the right words. You have to persist in them, even when your 3D circumstances seem unchanged. The moment you let doubt, fear, or frustration dominate your mind, you are undoing the work you've put in. The key is to remain aware of the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. You don't have to be perfect, no one is, but you must learn to redirect negative thoughts before they spiral. If you catch yourself thinking something that contradicts your desire, immediately replace it with an inner conversation that aligns with what you want. It's like tending to a garden. If you plant a seed but fail to water it, neglect it, or allow weeds to grow around it, it won't flourish. Your desires work the same way. They need consistent nourishment through your thoughts and beliefs. Every time you affirm and then revert to negative thinking, it's like planting a seed and then digging it up before it has a chance to grow. This is why consistency is everything. The reality you experience today is a reflection of your past assumptions and inner conversations. If you want something different, you must commit to changing the way you think and speak to yourself on a daily basis. Start paying attention to your mental diet. Notice the thoughts that run on autopilot throughout the day. Are they aligned with your desire, or are they reinforcing your current reality? Once you take control of your inner dialogue, your external world has no choice but to reflect the shift. The law of assumption states that what you assume to be true hardens into fact. The only way to change your assumptions is through persistence. You cannot afford to let the 3D dictate what you believe. Instead, let your new assumptions shape your 3D. Your mind is powerful, but it follows the instructions you give it. So give it the right ones, consistently, confidently, and without allowing doubts to take over. That is the real secret to manifestation. The problem isn't that your manifestation isn't working, it's that it's always working. It's just reflecting what you are consistently focusing on. Most people misunderstand manifestation because they think it's something they have to turn on or make happen. But manifestation isn't a switch you flip, it's an ongoing process that never stops. Your mind is always creating, whether you are conscious of it or not. The thoughts you dwell on the most, the beliefs you hold, and the feelings you repeatedly experience are shaping your reality every single moment. If you keep feeding yourself thoughts like, "It's not happening, why is it taking so long?" or "What if I fail?" then your reality will mirror those exact doubts. Not because the universe is against you, but because you are reinforcing those assumptions as true. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It simply accepts whatever is most dominant in your thinking and reflects it back to you in your external world. But the moment you shift and start feeding your mind with thoughts aligned with your desires, reality has no choice but to follow. This doesn't mean you will see results instantly, but it does mean that the moment you change your inner world, you are planting the seed for a new outcome. Every time you reaffirm your desired reality instead of reacting to your current one, you are strengthening that new belief and allowing it to take root. And no, this doesn't mean forcing yourself to think positive 24/7. It means being intentional about what you choose to entertain. Too many people think manifestation requires them to be happy all the time or never experience doubt. That's not realistic. The goal isn't to suppress or ignore your emotion. It's to train yourself to stop indulging in thoughts that do not serve you. Negative thoughts will come. They are a natural part of the human experience, but you don't have to give them power. You don't have to argue with them, resist them, or fear them. Just stop feeding them. When a doubt arises, acknowledge it, but don't dwell on it. Redirect your focus to what you do want. Think of your mind like a television. You always have control over what channel you tune into. If you don't like what's playing, you don't have to sit there and watch it. You can change the station. Your thoughts work the same way. You don't have to fight against the unwanted thoughts. You just need to shift your focus to a thought that aligns with the reality you want to experience. At first, this might feel unnatural. That's because most people have spent years reinforcing limiting beliefs and negative thinking patterns. But just like any habit, the more you practice redirecting your thoughts, the easier it becomes. Over time, your new assumptions will become your dominant ones, and your reality will reflect that shift. The key is persistence. Manifestation isn't about a single thought or affirmation. It's about what you are consistently feeding your subconscious mind. The more disciplined you become with your inner world, the more control you will have over your external reality. Here's the real key. Your reality shifts the moment your dominant inner conversations change. The moment you stop unconsciously indulging in old doubts and fears, your world will begin to reflect this new state. Your dominant thoughts create the lens through which you see the world. If your internal dialogue is filled with self-doubt, insecurity, and fear, your experiences will reinforce those very emotions. However, the moment you take control of your mental diet and deliberately redirect your inner conversations, you begin to rewrite the script of your life. This is why people who make even the smallest shifts in their mental diet often see rapid changes. Because the moment they stop feeding their subconscious old limitations, it stops manifesting them. The subconscious mind does not hold on to the past out of loyalty. It simply manifests whatever it is repeatedly given. The moment you shift the input, the output must follow. For example, imagine someone who always thought, "I'm never chosen." Every relationship, every experience reflected that belief. They saw others getting the love, attention, and opportunities they desired, but for them, it always seemed like they were overlooked. This belief became their reality, not because they were inherently unworthy, but because they unknowingly kept reinforcing this assumption in their mind. But one day, they decide to change their mental diet. Instead of indulging in thoughts of rejection, they start feeding their mind, "I am always valued. I am always prioritized." At first, nothing seems to change. Doubts creep in, and the temptation to go back to old thinking patterns remains strong. But they persist. They continue to affirm their new reality, not just once or twice, but consistently. At first, it might feel like nothing is happening. The external world still appears unchanged, and the urge to look for instant results may arise. However, behind the scenes, their subconscious mind is starting to shift. The longer they persist in this new assumption, the more natural it begins to feel. Their self-concept starts evolving. They no longer feel like someone who is rejected. Instead, they embody the belief that they are valued and prioritized. And then, something remarkable happens. Reality begins shifting. People start treating them differently, opportunities appear, and suddenly, their life looks completely different. Maybe an old friend reaches out to reconnect, or a romantic interest begins to pursue them with genuine interest. Perhaps a job opportunity arises that makes them feel recognized and appreciated. These changes are not coincidences. They are direct reflections of their new dominant self-concept. The key takeaway is that change starts internally. Most people try to fix their external world first, hoping that once circumstances improve, they will finally feel better. But this is backwards. The real transformation happens when you shift your internal conversations first, and then the world mirrors that new state. This is why mental discipline is so crucial. Your mind will try to revert to old patterns out of habit, but if you persist in your new assumptions, those habits will break. The more you affirm your chosen reality, the more natural it will feel, and eventually, it will become your dominant truth. You are never stuck. You are never a victim of circumstances. You always have the power to shift your reality by changing what you repeatedly tell yourself. And the moment you do, the world will reflect it right back to you. Every thought is a choice. Every mental conversation is an investment. And the only question that matters is, what are you choosing to feed your mind? Your mind is like a garden, constantly growing whatever seeds you plant. If you sow seeds of doubt, fear, and insecurity, those will sprout and shape your experiences. But if you plant seeds of confidence, success, and love, your life will reflect that. The best part, you don't need to get it perfect. You don't need to monitor every single thought or force yourself to feel positive all the time. You just need to become aware of what thoughts you are repeatedly allowing to take root. Awareness is the first step to change. Many people assume that because a negative thought pops up, their manifestation is ruined. That's not true. A single negative thought has no real power unless you continue to feed it with your focus and emotion. The key is to notice it, acknowledge it, and then shift your attention to thoughts that serve you. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Because once you start choosing thoughts that align with your desires instead of indulging in doubts, your reality will have no choice but to reflect that shift. At first, this might feel unfamiliar, especially if you've spent years unconsciously reinforcing old fears. But over time, your new mental habits will become second nature. You'll start to notice subtle changes, situations working out in your favor, people responding to you differently, opportunities appearing effortlessly. These are signs that your inner shift is beginning to manifest externally. And if you're wondering, but what if I have hidden limiting beliefs I don't even realize are blocking me? That's exactly what I'll be covering in the next video. Because once you learn how to identify and replace these hidden beliefs, manifestation becomes effortless. Many people are unaware of the deep-rooted assumptions they carry about themselves and life. These hidden beliefs operate in the background, subtly influencing their experiences. They might consciously affirm, "I am wealthy," but deep down, they still hold on to the belief that money is hard to earn. Or they might affirm, "I am loved," while secretly believing they are unworthy of love. These contradictions create resistance, making manifestation feel slow or inconsistent. The good news is that no belief is permanent. Just as you unconsciously adopted these limiting beliefs, you can consciously replace them. The first step is awareness, identifying the thought patterns that no longer serve you. Once you recognize them, you can challenge them and replace them with empowering beliefs that align with your desired reality. So remember, your thoughts are your mental diet. Choose wisely. Just as you wouldn't feed your body with toxic food, don't feed your mind with limiting thoughts. Your inner world shapes your outer world. The more intentional you become with your thinking, the more effortlessly your reality will shift. You are always creating. The only question is, are you creating what you want or what you fear? The choice is yours. Comment below. If you could instantly reprogram one belief and watch your reality shift, what would it be?